Hey, you know, over the past few years, I've had one question, one constant question that I've never been able to answer. What is Guy Ritchie doing?
You've always been spinning my mind. You've always been spinning my mind.
Alright, if we want to answer this question today, we first must figure out who is Guy Ritchie. According to Wikipedia, Guy Stewart Ritchie, born on the 10th of September 1986 in Hatfield, Hertfordshire, is an English film director, producer, writer, and businessman known for such films as Sherlock Holmes, starring Robert Downey Jr., and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer. Guy Ritchie's movies are known to be quite entertaining and chaotic, but there's something about his movies that I can't quite put my finger to that just pushes them a step further and makes them a Guy Ritchie movie. Like, for instance, anyone can make an entertainingly chaotic movie, but only Guy Ritchie can make a Guy Ritchie movie. Unless... No. I think there's one other person that can make a Guy Ritchie movie, but I'm not quite certain yet. So let's watch all of Guy Ritchie's movies to find out for sure. I just watched all 12 Guy Ritchie movies. So yeah, let's talk about them, I guess.
One's responsible for his torture.
And a traffic warden. I traffic wardens.
In 1998, Guy Ritchie made his directorial debut with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. The plot goes as Eddie, played by Nick Moran, persuades his three pals, Tom, Soap, and Bacon, all played by Jason Fleming, Dexter Fletcher, and Jason Statham, respectively, to pool money for a vital poker game against a powerful local mobster, Hatchet Harry. Eddie loses, after which Harry gives him a week to pay back £500,000. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is an amazing directorial debut that can stand its own against other directors' best work. But the greatest thing about Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is that it introduced the world to Jason Statham. That's right, without Guy Ritchie, there would be no Hobbs and Shaw, there would be no The Meg, there would be no other mediocre action movies. So yeah.
Anything to declare?
Yeah, don't go to England.
Stylish house frame furniture and scarfer cushions with matching chocolate bottoms.
Did you understand a single word of what he just said?
2 years later, Guy Ritchie follows up his debut with Snatch, a movie I consider, personally, to be one of his best. Set in the London Underground, which you're gonna see is fairly common with Guy Ritchie movies. The film contains two intertwined plots, one dealing with the search for a stolen diamond, the other with a small-time boxing promoter, Jason Statham, who finds himself under the thumb of a ruthless gangster, played by Alan Ford, who is ready and willing to have his subordinates carry out severe and sadistic acts of violence. The movie not only has Jason Statham in it, but it also has Benicio del Toro and Brad Pitt in major roles. Snatch is everything you could want from a Guy Ritchie movie. It's bombastic, it's funny, it's quirky, it's semi-problematic. It's Guy Ritchie being Guy Ritchie.
Bang.
That's enough.
Unfortunately, after Snatch, Ritchie made Swept Away, a remake of a 1974 Italian film entitled Travolti da un insolito destino nell'azzurro mar de agosto, which roughly translates to overwhelmed by an unusual fate in the blue sea of August. The Ritchie film stars Madonna, who at the time was married to Guy Ritchie, and Adriano Giannini. The IMDb synopsis for this movie is as follows. A snooty socialite is stranded on a Mediterranean island with a communist sailor. Now, I personally feel that this synopsis does not do the movie justice for just how awfully weird it is. So here's my synopsis. Amber, our socialite played by Madonna, goes on a yacht with a group of other socialites who are just awful people. She butts heads with seaman Giuseppe, played by Giannini. These two get stranded on a deserted island, but this is where it gets weird. Because Giuseppe is competent at surviving, he forces Amber to become his slave. Literally. I am not joking. I am not exaggerating. Giuseppe forces Amber to become his slave. Through this slave-master relationship, Amber and Giuseppe fall in love and live happily ever after. Swept Away 2002 loosely reads as some very out there social commentary on class and power imbalance, but people didn't like the movie too much, and neither did I.
No one lives and displeases gold. Do you know who Sam Gold is, Mr. Green? He's behind every crime ever committed.
You'll always find a good opponent in the very last place you would ever look.
3 years later, Ritchie followed up the misstep of Swept Away with another not great movie called Revolver. Gambler Jake Green enters into a game with potentially deadly consequences. I mean, it's just another mobster underground heist movie with Jason Statham. The weird part about this one is that it has Ray Liotta and Andre 3000 in it.
ROCKNROLLA.
Guy Ritchie's next endeavor is called ROCKNROLLA, and I bet you can guess the plot of this one. Here it is. When a Russian mobster orchestrates a crooked land deal, millions of dollars are up for grabs, drawing in the entire London underworld into a feeding frenzy at a time when the old criminal regime is losing turf to a wealthy foreign mob. I hear you right now. You're probably saying, oh wow, another London underworld mobster movie. How neat. But you know, it's actually a pretty good movie, considering. Here we've got Gerald Butler playing a character called 1-2. And we've got Tandaway Newton, Mark Strong, Tom Hardy as Handsome Bob, and Idris Elba playing a character called Mumbles. It's a fine movie.
Watson, what have you done?
Madam, I need you to remain calm and trust me, I'm a professional. But beneath this pillow lies the key to my release.
With Sherlock Holmes, we begin to see Guy Ritchie's entrance into the cultural zeitgeist. Here we have Robert Downey Jr. Right off the back of the first Iron Man, trying his best to maintain a British accent while playing Sherlock Holmes. I mean, this movie is just Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, Mark Strong, Rachel McAdams, all just having a go at it, making a Sherlock story. It's a fun movie. Not great. It's fun. It's fine. It's pretty fun.
Just follow my lead. Make it count.
I'd say that counts. You do seem excited, manic.
I am.
Verging on
Ecstatic.
psychotic. I should have brought you a sedative.
Immediately off the success of the first one, Guy Ritchie comes back and makes another with Downey, Law, Adams, all coming back to fight their biggest foe, Moriarty, played by Jared Harris. I honestly think this one is better than the first, but there's not really much to talk about with it. It's just another Sherlock Holmes movie.
Uncle.
How's that for entertainment?
After a brief break, Ritchie's back with The Man from U.N.C.L.E, starring Henry Cavill and man who is currently accused of being a cannibal, Armie Hammer. In the early 1960s, CIA agent Napoleon Solo and KGB operative Ilya Kuryakin participate in a joint mission against a mysterious criminal organization which is working to proliferate nuclear weapons. It's a great Guy Ritchie movie that is only slightly affected by Armie Hammer's presence.
So what happens now?
You know what happens now. You're quickly becoming a legend.
Guy Ritchie's next project is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. With the synopsis reading, robbed of his birthright, Arthur comes up the hard way in the back alleys of the city. Once he pulls the sword from the stone, he is forced to acknowledge his true legacy, whether he likes it or not. The movie did not hit commercially as well as Ritchie and the studio expected, but honestly, it's a great movie. Interestingly enough, it's the third movie Ritchie has made that was meant to spawn off a franchise. The first two being ROCKNROLLA and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I mean, an Arthurian cinematic universe from the mind of Guy Ritchie would have been a pretty great thing. But now I think Zack Snyder wants to do it. I don't know. Could have been cool.
The diamond in the rough.
Next up for Guy Ritchie is an odd one, the live-action Aladdin, better known as the blue Will Smith Aladdin movie. I mean, the plot, it's Aladdin. You can't really mess it up. Guy Ritchie didn't mess it up. It's getting a sequel. Cool.
There's only one rule in this jungle. When the lion's hungry, he eats.
The Gentleman is what I consider to be the most distilled version of a Guy Ritchie movie. It's the most Guy Ritchie movie. It's great. We've got Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Michelle Dockery, Jeremy Strong, Colin Farrell, Henry Golding, and Hugh Grant. The synopsis for this movie is an American expat tries to sell off his highly profitable marijuana empire in London, triggering plots, schemes, bribery, and blackmail in an attempt to steal his domain from under him. But having seen it, that barely scratches the surface of how bonkers and gonzo this movie is. Go watch it right now.
do bear a grudge.
Wrath of Man is shockingly Guy Ritchie's most sophisticated and grown-up movie. We follow Jason Statham, whose son's killed by people who have been screwed over by society, and he goes out for revenge, and it's brilliantly made. It doesn't have the quirkiness that other Ritchie movies have. Wrath of Man is more subtle and sleek. It's very well made and a surprising turn for Ritchie. Okay, that's every single Guy Ritchie movie, as of now. So now that we've gone over every Ritchie movie, we can now ask the question, what is Guy Ritchie doing? What is a Guy Ritchie movie? Throughout watching Guy Ritchie's entire filmography, we can boil down his distinct style to seedy underworld dealings with light social commentary. They have bombastic and shocking action with fast-paced dialogue that can only come from Guy Ritchie. And, well, one other person, Mr. Quentin Tarantino. Guy Ritchie has stated before that one of his biggest influences and inspirations has been Tarantino. It all makes sense. Everything about a Guy Ritchie movie can be found in a Tarantino movie. Bombastic action, fast-paced dialogue, and light social commentary. So is it safe to say that what Guy Ritchie is doing is being a British Quentin Tarantino knockoff? No. But, so what do you think?
Yeah, I think.
There's something on the ceiling.
We need something.
Thanks for watching, guys. What do you think of Guy Ritchie? Have you seen any of his movies before? What should I cover in the future? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of my stuff. Alright. Bye-bye.